First of all, I'd like to thank my friends, family, distinguished guests, and the media for coming here and supporting my book. Thank you so much. Ernest Hemingway has rightly said, there's nothing to writing. Basically, all you do is sit down at the typewriter, in our case, our computers, and just bleed. That's about it. And I feel very rightly said, because writing does take a lot of sweat, toil, emotion, and literally your characters literally do it makes. Dance of Durga is a very special story for me, as it has travelled with me through some of my most beautiful moments and celebrations in life, and also been with me through some terrible personal loss and grief. I'm very happy to share the ideas, thoughts, and the journey of creating this novel and my protagonist, Durga. I would like to invite this distinguished filmmaker, Mr. Rajiv Menon, to say a few words and give us a glimpse of Rajul's world through an alien. Thank you, Rajiv.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Kanika Villain Show. As you can see, the panel is really loaded. There are all women power happening there, so I'll restrict my masculine remarks to very small. And I think, as is very clear, we don't mess around with Durga, and I think it's the shortest cut between seeing a small alien on the book, and it's like a little trailer which is being put together by somebody, but the person who's going to switch on the thing is on me, and it's on cue. Prakash is going to switch it on, so it's on.
She confesses to her daughter that yes, I did have a favorite child. You know, you were not the one.
I think all parents have their favorite child.
Yeah, they just don't say it. Lata saying no.
I'm a single child, so I don't think so. There's any problem with me.
No, we like to hide the ugly. We think it's ugly. Personally, I don't think it's ugly, but we like to hide it. And I have the opportunity to be bad while I'm writing. I can be rude. I can put whatever I want. That's one of the first that comes with writing, obviously. I can do what I want. I can kill someone. I can get my anger out. I can just go on and on. So I do that with my characters, and I think that's what makes it real for me. You know, I'll tell you the flip side of it. One of my sister-in-laws read the book, and after she finished reading the book, she came to me and talked about Shetty, and she had this weird look in her eyes, and she's wondering, should she ask me or should she not ask me that question? And I'm like, Shetty, what happened? She's like, I'm just wondering, how could you, should she felt the book was a little evil. She felt that there was a lot of evil and darkness in the book, and the characters were evil and manipulative. So she said that, and then she looked at me and said, I'm wondering how you thought about it. I'm like, Abe, sister-in-law, alarm bells. Be thinking what is going on in her mind. So I had to, for a week, I had to like gently tell her, you know, tools of trade. I'm trained to do it, separate from me. But so it was. I guess it's a natural tendency for people to think that, you know, writers when they're writing, it's a part of them. So if this character is being like this, manipulative and is a little crazy, then it comes from the source. Yes, it does come from the source, and yes, writers are crazy. Last time I did tell them that it's an acceptable form of schizophrenia, right? And we do have many people inside us, and you know, we have very. I'm speaking on behalf of writers who would like to admit this, and I'm sure there are same writers, but I think we have crazy minds. We have constantly different characters going on in our head, and we are constantly making judgments, one versus the other. So it's a very chaotic mental space. And I like to bring it out in the most unprotected, romanticized manner. I'd say the words should be naked. The relationships should be the way they are. If it is blood, it should be blood.
So, like in real life, you won't want to see that, but when you're reading the book, you just love those characters and you just want to be a part of that character. It's like you and in the book.
So, I think it's a blessing to the writers. You all can let it out somewhere.
Live another world.
Each one of us here has the same mission. It's just that we keep suppressing it. No, this is not who you are. This is
So when you're angry, I'll kill someone in the book. So Anushka, there's a beautiful excerpt from what Kanika has written. I would like you to read it.
Yes, again, that's a bit I will. That's something which it's one of my personal favorites because love is something, I guess, what you all spoke about. It's something which we can never do without. And when we are in it, it always makes our world upside down, whatever things. And personally, I feel love is all about growth. Because each one of us has been here before. And it's a part of a growth. The partners come together to grow together. And then it's your choice either to grow together or fall apart. And the first time when we meet each other and somehow we take each other for granted. After a few years, we see a lot of other new things around. We just want it's like getting into a candy shop. You had your share and you want to go see something else which entices you. But again, it's the same thing. Once you reach that same so many years, it gets back to the same thing. And here I feel what was written is it's the first time when you see someone that fresh, that chemistry, that attraction between them. At the same time, each of us have the fears within us, whether is it something which is meant to last or is it something which is not meant to be, especially if you're someone who has a lot of faith, you believe in God and all that. If your heart's broken, then you start taking sometimes start believing your destiny and you get a little unsure of your life. But just a second. They sat amongst the ruins next to the street, a star-shaped design like a sapphire flame through the green. They stood watching side by side, and then just like that, he reached out to her, and she held his gaze. He bent down and kissed her. Hesitant at first, Raju parted her mouth, gently to allow his cinnamon and cigarette-doused tongue to her. Their breath lingered, their bodies merged, and on that day, overcast with magical clouds by the gushing water, their souls soldiered as one, and ran through the stream to an unknown land, filled with love and joy, making the water sweeter than it ever was. She made a vision with her dupatta fluttering in the wind, a hue of red and pink, her face fallen, like the water ran in the rivulet to unknown seas. They were supposed to stream ahead too, collecting whatever the banks offered and moving along, not pausing, not holding on, not looking back. Perhaps that was the nature of what it was with Harsh, or would ever be, a rivulet. A smile spread across her face, a broad smile. Raju ran to the fruit garden outside and it began to rain. She soaked it in, feeling him all around her, inside her, enveloping her. Perhaps the sun had snatched a beautiful moment from the running water and was now pouring it on her. Perhaps there was a way to hold on, even if it was a streaming rivulet. And I have a confession. When I read this phrase, there's something which, of course, the first when they meet each other, the romance between them, whatever they feel for each other, which after that they don't have physical barrier, and then it goes on to two different things, and I want to know what was it that you wrote this because one was the the reference to the rivulet and the stream joining the ocean, and then all of a sudden there was a reference to the running water, and it says perhaps there was a way to hold on, and that's what made it rain.
Sweetie, actually, when I was writing this, how you explain that when it's a new love, when lovers meet for the first time, they're interacting, there's this attraction, hesitancy, you're getting to know each other. And there's this thought at the back of your mind that, oh, is it going to last or not? So as they are by the stream and while they are kissing, the environment becomes a part of that experience for her, and she feels that maybe as this rivulet is going from shore to shore, maybe this is something that will pass. Maybe it's not really meant to be. We met as strangers and we just go on a different shore. So the rivulet has been used as a metaphor for two lovers who are not really sure if this is something that will hold them together or bind them together for life. And there's a sense of almost a hopelessness that you cannot really ever hold a stream to one particular bank or shore. Or the river is always going to just flow. So there's that sense of loss. Hence that metaphor in the first half. In the second half, the reference is when she's so happy and she's dancing on the green, there's hope. Why? Because she thinks maybe when we exchange that kiss, that moment of love, maybe that point of that's the time when that little moment is captured as a cloud from that rivulet, and now it's coming back and she's dancing in the rain. So it's somehow connected, it's coming back to her. So maybe there's a way to capture that flowing stream, and maybe there's a way to hold on to this love. So that is the context in what and I'm sure without the references to the stream and the rain, I'm sure the story still goes on. I'm sure a lot of people who read by it could just be a stream and it could just mean it was one of those romantic moments where it was raining. Is there any, was it intentional to go into depth? See, yeah, I guess what you're also asking is that the use of these environment, the use of environment and the use of say the weather, it's not just in terms of depicting the scenery or setting a place, a physical place. It's, in this book, I have used the weather, rain, leaves, the nature, the environment in a very metaphorical sense. Because as a person, when I'm experiencing something, when I'm sad, there's a sense of smell attached to that. If it's going to rain and I'm sad, it will come back to me when it's going to rain. So I, as a person, interact a lot with nature and environment, and it becomes a part of my experience. So as an extension to the characters I create, they also draw heavily from the mood, the themes of the nature around them, and is woven into the plot, is woven into the writing, because as a person I interact with nature at that time. So it is very personal, it is emotional, and every emotion and important moment that I live in retrospect again will always have a color, a sense, a smell, a sight, a visual attached.
Yeah, but what is reading without using the metaphors, and you're using the metaphors really beautifully?
We have a sense, we have books where people love it and they don't really need it, because I'll tell you, there is this constant balancing act also. When one thing I'll share with you while writing this novel, I constantly have to balance between, we don't need to know about what is happening. Just tell us the plot, just tell us the story. Is she getting him? Is she not getting him? Is she going on to the other? Is the wife finding out about the affair? Just tell us and finish it.
We're not making a movie out here, writing a book. So you can take hours and days and months to finish your book. There's no timeline for that.
But now we have in fact, the younger generation, I think, they are a little restless in there. Unless you cultivate this habit of reading, I think, and you really enjoy the whole experience of it, I think there is a sense of, I want to get to the story and finish.
Life is a journey, and about the faith that whatever is happening in our life, that someday it's going to come back in some form, and it's because of belief which we have in ourselves, and we think that with this faith we'll find our path again. So Kanika, a lot of times we lose our faith. While writing, I'm 100% sure you must have lost your faith and said, okay, I'm done with this book, I'm not going to be writing anymore. Let's go, let me write my screenplay and it will be faster. So tell us, how do you keep getting your faith in this lengthy book? Because I just spoke to you and you told me it took you 3 years to write this book, 2.5 years.
Not only did I not lose my faith, I lost my marble while I was creating these stories, because this story, like the thing that it's very personal. A lot of changes are happening in my personal life. I got married to a new city, new people, family, lost my father. So very intense changes. And of course, when changes like this happen, you do tend to question everything that you've been, you take it for granted, or you've been, following or believing or everything. So I did have that unease. I did have that period of isolation. I was going through a tough time personally too, and that did reflect. I think I stopped writing completely. So I did not go back to the novel for almost 6 months because I just didn't know what to write, and I was just in that zone, grieving, and it was just in a very negative manner. And so this book, I'd say I had a lot of personal hurdles to cross to get to writing and finishing this story, more than the writer's block per se. But then, you can't really demarcate both, because you are the one who's writing it, it's coming from you. So, I forgot the question you answered.
I answered it well. At least I'm getting something.
I would like to call Raman to read out the last beautiful lines which Kanika has written.
Yeah, I'll just give the context to this. So this is when the love of her life, love of Raju's life, is about to die. He's on his deathbed, and Raju doesn't know what to do. And she's come at those crossroads where she's looking for answers, and she hopes she can find or save her lover. And the people that she's speaking to, these are her, when she was younger and she was in an ashram in a dera. These were the people who were friends and confidants, Arjun and Kuljeet, and she's turned to them for advice and those final moment of making that decision, and what she really needs to do to get her love back, and what does she need to do with life.
He is dying. It's whispered in my ear. Only I can find his hidden breath. Where do I look? She looked at Arjun with despair. Arjun smiled at her and said, "You cannot find his breath in the dark, devious hands of your empire, nor in the time you played with fire when you sold him in anger. Find your way back. Go back to before you started your journey as a god woman, when the raindrops on your skin warmed with hope and faith." She remembered the window from which she had thrown the deity out. She remembered the smell on the skin of that man who had raped her through the night. She remembered the cold tap and the water dripping on the bathroom floor as she sat there half dead. She remembered sitting in the bus and leaving her village far behind. There was nothing more to be said here. To go back in time, she would relive the horror she left behind. Open the wounds, tear the scars, and let the blood ooze out till there was nothing left to cover and hide.
Thank you, Lata. Sounds so nice in your voice, and I would continue hearing that.
So this was like a short conversation with Kanika. I would love. Interestingly, she's written a screenplay of my next film, so I'm going to be directing her written screenplay. So I kind of enjoyed this book a lot, and I would like Rashi Menon, Lata Menon to please come on stage, and Anushka to inaugurate.
For being there, and Padma, you're Bablu. Okay, thank you. Bablu knows enough. Thank you.